Hare Krishna, 8th June to July 4th, we have both the gurus together in the sign of Cancer. There have been many positive videos on the YouTube, but I think it is time for the reality check. You see, I'll give you a very small example. Within 1 minute, you'll be able to realize what I'm trying to tell you. How many of you have seen or experienced Jupiter Mahadasha and Venus Antardasha, and vice versa. Venus Mahadasha and Jupiter Antardasha. Technically, in somebody's life, it is one of the most difficult period because we have two gurus with exactly different SOPs, standard operating procedure, with very, very different mindset, and also, a very different category of students. And whenever they are running the show of your life, those couple of years or a year is a very, very conflicting year in somebody's life, right? I mean, obviously, we'll have to see the chart in totality. We'll have to see whether, Jupiter is in a better position or Venus is blessed by Jupiter in the horoscope. But if you've experienced this dasha, where two strong planets, both Daitya Guru and Dev Guru Brihaspati, I mean, whenever they are together, it is definitely a time of push and pull. It is definitely a time, which is difference between a blind devotion and dharma, right? So, what exactly is going to happen based on your moon sign? You can also take this from your ascendant. I'm going to tell you that what are the positives and the negatives of this particular transit, which is started from 8 June till July 4th. It can bring a major transformation, a major good luck. Also, it can create a major problem as well. So let me first, share my screen with you and let me tell you what exactly happens. Now, both these planets are also considered as natural benefic planets, right? Jupiter is the real prosperity, the real sukha. Venus is about luxury, devotion, fantastic financial management is seen from Shukra. Now you see these both planets are in the sign of moon, and moon is very fast moving. So this transit of almost 24, 25 days is going to be a very, very speculative transit because the dispositor is moon. So like highs and lows and ups and downs depending upon the movement of the moon as well. But on the same time, both these benefic planets are also conflicting energies, right? Where Jupiter is about dharma, about religion, education, and there is little ego in Jupiter. And Jupiter, technically, in the sign of Cancer, is more strong as compared to Venus. However, Venus has directional strength, Digbala, and it is the exaltation sign of Jupiter. Exaltation means that Jupiter is now fully aware of what he's supposed to do and he's very, very ethical. That's the meaning of an exalted planet. Now you bring in Venus, and you know, probably around 25th of June, we'll also have Mercury joining in here. Also, we see that, you know, there are two, Panch Mahapurush yogas that are forming in the Brahmanda. Mars in its own sign, in the Kendra for Aries rising or Aries moon sign. And then on the same time, we have, Jupiter's Panch Mahapurush Raj Yoga happening. Now, you see here, one thing that you have to realize is that this particular combination of Jupiter and Saturn can bless you, but it can also give you a conflict. in whichever house from the moon or from the lagna this is happening in your horoscope. Now let's talk about Aries rising. For Aries rising, Jupiter is in the fourth house. It's a good time. You already have moved to new properties, new homes, and on the same time, you're also being blessed by sudden gains because of Jupiter aspect on the eighth house. And also, the Saturn, which was troubling you, is now seen by Jupiter. So here you are feeling a lot of balance. You are thinking about your health. You're thinking about your future. And you're suddenly becoming very, very spiritual and idealistic because Jupiter in the fourth house is also controlling, you know, the lordship of moon. But on the same time, when you have this Venus coming in, now one thing that you have to realize here is that Jupiter is, going to lead here and he's going to welcome Venus. But internally, they don't like each other. Here, Venus is going to pretend little bit strict, but also Venus is going to bless you with the comforts of life. Venus is going to bless you with devotion along with dharma and education coming from Jupiter. Venus is also going to, take care of your mother's health. But on the same time, it is not a very good, position for your health. I must tell you that. You got to be very careful with your heart health. You got to be very, careful. Suddenly you will see the kind of, problem which is coming in your, you know, uh, around your lungs or around your heart or around your gallbladder. Because you see, whenever Jupiter Venus are together, definitely it creates some sort of health issues. I've seen this from my experience. But on the same time, there is one thing which is good about it is that Jupiter will take care of it. So you need to also be worried about, certain about certain repairs and renovations at your home. Suddenly something can come up and you'll have to renovate that because Venus is going to convert a very ordinary, spiritually looking home into a luxurious home. That's also Venus is capable of doing. So suddenly, some money will flush out for, painting or getting your home, getting, renewed in all the way and making it more luxurious. That's what happens for, Aries Lagna or Aries moon sign. But definitely you need to check your parameters, get the blood test done. It is technically a little difficult position for your heart health and definitely for your lungs area. But on the same time, good for, overall blessings at home, right? For Taurus, it is happening in the third house. New ventures will come up. You'll have devotion in those new ventures. There is always a chance of you being, relocation or you being transferred to, a different position, a new opportunity. But on the same time, this can give you some conflict in your communication. Suddenly, a wrong email or you were trying to forward a message to someone and then it went to someone else, right? And then you get really scared. Oh no, how can I send this message to him? And then you suddenly delete for all. And then you realize that, oh, he read it or she read it, and you are in trouble. This kind of, miscommunication is going to be there. However, the combination of Jupiter Venus makes you very, very professional. Also in terms of, there could be a problematic situations in your ear infections. There could be ear and throat, blisters and infections because it is in the third house. Also your written communication, you need to be very watchful, very, very careful, because whenever these two conflicting energies are there, it give you some sort of loss along with lot of beneficness, right? You feel very positive, but depending upon your moon's movement, there could be certain bad nakshatras, certain bad positions where the moon is transiting, and it can give you that, mistake of life that you can do. So be very, very careful. However, wherever Jupiter Venus is in the Lagan Kundi, this combination makes you very, very professional. On the same time, Jupiter is looking at the seventh house. And also the 11th house, also Jupiter is aspecting the ninth house. So a lot of spirituality. If you're trying to get married or any business partnerships, very good. But please get the inquiry done of the person properly whom you are, having your knots with. Also, if you are doing a partnership, please be very, very careful in writing that partnership deed. On the same time, for Gemini, people may suffer from viral infections and throat infections and blisters because of Jupiter Venus conflict. It's a health conflict. These are two very, very different tattvas coming together and then give you cold and cough and viral issues and virus problems. But on the same time, it is looking at your sixth house, looking at your 10th house. So the blessings, and on the eighth house, a lot of blessings at your work. This can create a platform for you people to actually get a bigger role in coming 3 months or 6 months time, right? Maybe a company in which you're working is expanding and it's, chosen you for that bigger role and you started preparing for it. On the same time, Venus looking at your eighth house, there can be certain gains also, but do not get carried away. It can be a problematic situation later on where you got the money, but you just wasted it, spent it. On the same time, you have, this combination in the second house, which is also family and your taste buds. So be very careful in what you're eating. Also, there can be a conflict within the family. However, it is very good combination for buying any fixed asset. For buying gold also, it's a good option. Jewelry, specifically, which you can keep for long term, long time. It's not where you can get, some gold and then book some profit and exit. No, no, no. We've got Venus with Jupiter, time to buy jewelry, time to gift jewelry to your loved ones. And that is something that you can keep for long, long time. It will be very lucky for you. For Cancer rising, it is happening in the Lagna. It is a beautiful, beautiful position for you. A lot of wisdom already. You're feeling more spiritual, calm, composed. You are already visiting various spiritual places, and now comes Venus. All you have to do is be very careful with your health. Any problems in headache, survival, or any mistake that you can do which can spoil your reputation, because two conflicting energies are in the Lagna. So probably you are portraying and you are very spiritual, but also you get a unwanted blame on you, for no reason. That's what Jupiter Venus can do. Otherwise, for your happiness, for intelligence, for learning, for children, for your parents, for long distance travel, for your partnerships, for your associations, this is a very good period. you know, I just want to go back and tell Gemini Lagna people to lit a lamp of Tulsi every day from Monday to Saturday. Sunday we don't do it. And for people who are Taurus rising, where this combination was happening in the third house, I want you to help young children, right? Or your siblings if they want something, right? Please do help them, right? And for Aries, you should be visiting temples and serving your mother, especially with white sweets. Right. Now, Cancer Lagna people, this is happening in the Lagna. This is the time for Durga, sadhana, for Bhagavati sadhana. Immense amount of bhakti you can do and you can get exuberant results here. All you have to do is be very careful with your reputation. Don't make any mistake, which you can do by just getting carried away and then something comes up which is, spoiling your reputation. For Leo moon sign or Leo ascendant, this is happening in the 12th house, right? 12th house Jupiter Venus combination is little careful in your investments. Something that you invest can go wrong, right? And can give you tons and tons of problems in the later times. So be very careful with your investments. Do not give money or do not lend money. It's not going to come back. However, right, if you carefully do certain investments and your Mahadasha is good, this is a very good period, I must tell you. But again, it is a conflict in the 12th house. Lending money and taking, interest of that money is going to create certain problems in your life. However, in terms of your sleep, there could be problem in your sleep also. Try to sleep in time, get exercise, do meditation, pranayam, and also if you can donate some clothes, that will be very, very good. On Friday and Thursday, donate some, maybe a white dhoti on a Shivalinga, right? So that is something, white clothes in a Shiva temple will be very, very good remedy here. For Virgo, it is happening in the 11th house. You got to be careful with your social reputation. However, there will be gains. There's no doubt about it. On the same time, this is an aspect of Jupiter on the seventh house and your third house, Prakram, and new things will come up in your life. But on the same time, I must tell you that there could be a conflict with your elder sibling. There could be a conflict with your teacher, guru, or a mentor. There could be a conflict, around the society. Something may pop up which will try to tarnish your, reputation. That's something, that can happen with this particular position. On the same time, Venus is also looking at your fifth house. So good news from the children, love and romance, can be, is on the cards. But again, got to be very careful with your reputation in the society. Now, Libra Lagna here. Libra Lagna people or Libra moon sign, this is happening in the 10th house. Very good for your profession. Something new will come up. You can get a better role, expansion, in your profession, in your, domain, expansion in your responsibilities. But it can also give you a conflict with your colleague. It can give you a conflict with your father. It can give you, a mismatch or a disagreement at your workplace. I want you to be calm and composed. I don't want you to get carried away with the ego of exalted Jupiter. That's where you can get this problem in your life. On the same time, Jupiter is looking at the second house, sixth house, right? Do not, get carried away in terms of fighting with someone or having been over competitive with someone. However, if you want to take a loan, if you want to buy some assets, it's a very good time. Also, if you're planning to buy a home, you will get a luxurious home. There is no doubt about it. If you want to sell and buy, even that is possible. Right? For Scorpio, it is happening in the ninth house, Scorpio Lagna or Scorpio moon sign. And Jupiter is looking at your Lagna, at your third house, fifth house. Very good time for children, developing your skills. Also, short distance travels are going to be on the cards. You're going to travel for a spiritual purpose. You can go to Jyotirlingas. You can, spend well your holidays, the summer vacations. But on the same time, there can be a conflict with your father, misunderstanding with your father, or your father may behave in an awkward way for no reason. It can happen with your boss also, with your teacher also, right? But on the same time, good time for children, good time for love and romance, good time to take care of your health. You're going to really, really come up with new ideas to become more fitter in your life. However, the best remedy is to visit temples and jyotirlingas, and do not get into a conversation or heated argument with your father. For Sagittarius moon sign or Sagittarius Lagna, it is happening in the eighth house. You got to be careful with your spine or any chronic diseases because of the food habits. Got to be careful. While taking a medicine, you may visit a wrong doctor, a wrong treatment, a wrong surgery, a wrong medicine can come up. That's where you have to be very careful with. However, for spiritual learning, for occult sciences, for going abroad, for settling abroad, for your citizenship, for your study visa, for passport things, it's a good time. It's a good time for buying a property also. It's a good time for renovating your home also. But on the same time, your health will be 100% a concern here. The best remedy would be listening to Shiva Sahasranama, and in the evening, lit a lamp in front of Durga and read Durga Stuti. Very, very important for you. For Capricorn, Lagna, or Capricorn moon sign, this is happening in the seventh house of your associations, partnerships, new options of associations, partnerships. Your daily income will increase here. There's no doubt about it. But on the same time, I must tell you that you got to be careful while signing a contract on an agreement. There could be a misunderstanding with your partner. There could be a misunderstanding with your spouse. There could be, some sort of misunderstanding in calculation of the money. You know, there's a blessing which is there of Jupiter on the Lagna, on the third house, on the 11th house, right? But definitely there is a conflict that I see in terms of your spouse. And if you had a major, argument with your spouse, just keep it, pending, and just postpone it. Put it in the parking lot. Do not take it forward. It will become major. However, in terms of getting some income and, expanding your social network, getting a new venture, it's a good time, right? The best remedy here would be to gift something to your spouse, to take, go along with your spouse to a religious place, right? And also, if you can, read Durga Stuti again, it'll be very, very good for you. For Aquarius, this is happening in the sixth house. Sixth house, technically, both Jupiter and Venus technically are not comfortable, but Jupiter is strong here, and it will help you fight diseases, problems, enemies, right? Whatever long lasting problem was there in your life, it is going to come to a conclusion. It's going to come to an end if your dasha is good. However, this can give you skin problems, liver issues, digestive problems. Be very careful with type 2 diabetes or liver inflammations, right? But on the same time, it is very good time for getting opportunity at your work. Your reputation in the family will be good. Whatever you say, the God is behind you because Jupiter is looking at your second house. You get Vak Siddhi if you have a good dasha with you. But on the same time, this is not a good period for your stomach and heart health. There is a conflict that I see. Watch what you eat. Be very, very careful. Listening to Shiva Sahasranama from Rudra Yamala Tantra is the key here. Every single day, you should listen to that at least till 4th of July. Otherwise, for your work, for your family, for assets, it's a good time. Not a good time for your health. For Pisces moon sign or Pisces lagna, it's happening in the fifth house. Wonderful period for love, romance, and children. But again, there could be heart health issues, liver issues, and stomach issues. There could be some disagreement with your children. There could be some disagreement, a push and pull with your romantic life. Also, you could have a problem taking a decision for your studies. That's where this Jupiter Venus is going to give you a problematic situation. However, if you are intelligent, it's a small transit. Be very careful. If you can hold on a conflict, or if you can just pass this time, the moment the Venus is going to get off the Cancer sign and go to the sixth house. However, it can still give you health issues and stomach problems or skin issues, but for your education, for your love, romance, that difficult time will be over. But fifth house, I mean, you can have disagreement with your loved ones. You can have a disagreement with your children and education decisions. However, for society, for public, wonderful time, good time for introspecting, good time for enhancement of knowledge and lagna. I mean, good time for improving your intelligence. Good time to travel abroad. Good time for long distance travels, right? But do not get into a conflict with loved ones, especially children and someone you really, really love from bottom of your heart, right? So this is, ladies and gentlemen, the realistic approach towards Jupiter and Venus, right? I'll come up with another video. Till then, Hare Krishna, Har Har Mahadev, Shambhu. Thank you.